One wrong step meant death. No law, no mercy, no second chances. The American frontier didn't care who you were before you arrived, only if you could survive. This is the story of 14 men who faced impossible odds and left their mark on a land that tried to erase them. Some you know. Most you've never heard of. All of them earned their place in history the hard way. Today, we'll explore their stories, the trailblazers and builders who carved their mark where wilderness once ruled, the warriors and visionaries who fought for the land and their people, and the renegades and legends who lived by no man's law, caught between the world that was and the one still being born. I'm Rowan, and this is OTRA Legends. Let's get into it. Daniel Boone once said, "Heaven must be a Kentucky kind of place." He was a hunter and a surveyor, a man who pushed past fences and noise, trading the comfort of company for the silence of the trees. He carved the wilderness road through the Cumberland Gap, and through it, the nation followed. In 1778, after being captured and adopted by Chief Blackfish of the Shawnee, he learned of a plan to attack Boonesboro. He escaped and ran 160 miles in 5 days through enemy ground to warn his people. Boone was a man of his own making. Simon Kenton once said, "I have roamed the woods, lived by my rifle, and trusted to the strength of my arm." Also known as Simon Butler, he fled home at 15 believing he had killed a man and vanished into the wilderness. He helped settle Virginia, Kentucky, and Ohio, serving in 3 wars and earning a reputation for endurance. Captured by the Shawnee in 1778, he was beaten and forced to run 9 gauntlets, surviving all. Later, imprisoned near Detroit, he escaped and ran hundreds of miles on foot back to Kentucky, scarred, starving, but not broken. James Harrod was a Pennsylvanian by birth and one of Kentucky's first true builders. In 1774, he led 31 men down the Ohio and into the Kentucky wilderness, founding Harrodstown, the first permanent settlement west of the Alleghenies. A soldier in Lord Dunmore's War and the Revolution, Harrod rose to colonel and helped shape early Kentucky politics. Then, in 1792, he vanished on a hunting trip and was never seen again. Some said he was murdered, others that he walked away to start a new life. The truth was lost to the frontier he helped create. George Rogers Clark fought not for glory, but for ground. A soldier of the Revolution, he led 200 men through flooded plains and winter storms to take the Illinois country from British control. That campaign secured the Northwest Territory and pushed the nation's reach to the Mississippi. He won a war on foot, with hunger and cold as his closest allies. When peace came, the country he helped build left him behind. Clark died in debt and silence. But the story of the frontier was far from over. What came next would turn the wilderness into a battleground, a fight for the land itself and for the people who refused to surrender it. If you've made it this far, be sure to smash that like button and hit subscribe. It helps more folks find these forgotten legends, and it lets me keep telling them. But Davy Crockett said, "You may all go to hell, and I will go to Texas." Davy Crockett was an American politician, militia officer, and frontiersman, often called the king of the wild frontier. Born poor in the hills of Tennessee, he rose from hunter to congressman, representing his state in the U.S. House of Representatives before leaving politics behind for open country. He fought in the Texas Revolution and died at the Alamo. With him ended the first great age of the frontier. Crockett became the bridge between history and legend. Lewis Wetzel said, "The frontier has its own law, and I am bound to it." He was an American scout and frontiersman, known along the Ohio frontier as Death Wind. He stood around 5'10", with black hair that hung to his knees, and eyes that never missed a thing. Wetzel was an expert with knife and tomahawk, and even deadlier with his long rifle. He moved, quiet and deliberate. To settlers, he was a guardian. To natives, an enemy. He lived by his own rules. Simon Girty once said, "The wilderness is my home, and the people within it are my family." Born on the Pennsylvania frontier, he saw his father killed and was taken in by the Seneca. Years later, he served as a scout for the colonies. But what he saw along the Ohio changed him. Innocent people caught between flags and promises. Girty walked away from both sides and lived as he saw fit, loyal only to the people he called his own. History never decided what to call him, only that he belonged to the frontier. Captain Samuel Brady was a ranger born for the frontier. A scout, soldier, and tracker, he moved through the woods like smoke, fast, quiet, and never far from danger. He fought in the Revolution, then carried the war west, leading men who lived by nerve alone. When cornered near the Cuyahoga, Brady made his escape in a single leap across the river, a jump that outlived him. He didn't chase fame, he chased survival. And on the frontier, that was enough to make a man's name last. Thomas Bigfoot Spencer was a long hunter and a giant of the Tennessee frontier. He lived alone near Bledsoe's Lick, where the woods were thick and danger close. Broad and fearless, he carried the strength of two men, a man who could throw a deer across his shoulders and walk for miles. Spencer hunted, fought, and slept beneath open skies. In 1794, he was killed defending the land he helped settle. Some said he died hard. Others said he never truly died at all. Cornstalk said, "When I was young and my people were strong, I feared not the white man. Now we are few and helpless, yet I fear not still." Chief of the Shawnee, he fought at Point Pleasant in 1774, then turned to peace, hoping to spare his people. Betrayed and killed under truce at Fort Randolph, he met death without fear. His courage marked the beginning of a long struggle between nations, one fought as much with honor as with blood. Blue Jacket was a Shawnee war chief who rose from warrior to commander of a confederacy. In the 1780s and 90s, he led the fight to hold the Ohio country against the new republic's advance. Victorious at the Wabash, defeated at Fallen Timbers, he was a strategist who fought for a nation's survival. Though the war was lost, his leadership gave shape to the frontier's fiercest resistance. The place he fought for still carries his name. Little Turtle of the Miami said, "The blood of our warriors has gone to cover the ground you stand on." He led the greatest native victory in American history, destroying 2 U.S. armies in the early Northwest Indian War. Yet when the odds turned, he sought peace, believing survival required wisdom more than war. He was a tactician and a statesman, respected by both enemies and allies. Few leaders knew when to fight, and fewer knew when to stop. Tecumseh said, "Live your life so that the fear of death can never enter your heart." He dreamed of unity, not conquest, calling tribes together from the Great Lakes to the Gulf. As the frontier closed in, he stood unbroken, fighting for a confederacy that might have changed history. He fell at the Battle of the Thames in 1813, and with him, the last great hope of resistance. Yet his voice still carries, clear, defiant, and remembered. These were the faces of the American frontier. Each walked the same ground, not always on the same side, but all united in the relentless fight for survival. They were people who met a hard land and left their mark. They helped build a nation, and their stories still live on. I'm Rowan, and this is OTRA Legends. Be sure to check out our playlist, Legends of the American Frontier. Then smash that like button and hit subscribe for more tales from America's past. Until next time, happy hunting.